Hey there.
It's not even that sunny.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I am Linda.
Elliot's.
Alright guys, so in this video, we're going to be discussing how to control your emotions when you're in tough situations or in situations where you just want to lash out at each other or, you know, when you get in a heated conversation with just your spouse or even just anyone in general, family members, friends, etc. So I will go ahead and share my experience first. In the past, so about 3 or 4 years ago, when we started dating, I was basically a mess. I didn't know how to control my emotions at all. Little things would bother me. Little things that he would do would bother me. So now I've actually read this book called Emotional Intelligence last year, and I read it I think 2 times, and it gave me a really good insight of how the average person is when there's a heated conversation or if there's something that somebody doesn't like based on what they say or how they feel. So it was giving examples like co-workers and even spouses, because the thing is with us women, we always put these thoughts in our minds and we overthink things way too much. We literally take it to the worst extent, and that's why we kind of blow up. So it's very important to take a step back, breathe, and just realize what this relationship is really about. And I think once you figure out, and it comes down to like you both talking to, like, what are your goals together and how are you guys going to improve together and separately. And once you guys have an idea of how you want this relationship to work out, you should be pretty confident that even if your boyfriend or husband or wife or girlfriend talks to the opposite sex, it shouldn't even cross your mind that they're interested in them. If you are that type of person, I would just, you know, take a step back before you say anything, because it's so easy to just say something so quickly without thinking about it. Just take a step back before you say something and that you'll regret, and really process it through your head and say, is it really this bad? Like, what am I really arguing about? So that's my recommendation to you guys. That's just how I grew too. Like, I just read that book. Also, another really big one is I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins videos, because Tony Robbins is an expert in relationships and well, that's what he's an expert in, relationships and how to treat each other and how to not let those emotions affect us. So instead of blaming the other person, work on yourself first. Work on improving your emotional state of mind first before ever going to that person and blaming them. But yeah, so that's the advice that I have for you guys, and I'll let Elliot talk about what he wants to share with you guys too. He's really big on this stuff, and
Finally I can talk.
He's really big on emotional intelligence, so
Finally. My perspective. I guess, you know, just to kind of give a male perspective on things, because obviously there's going to be a female perspective, and when you get into relationships, I know guys have to understand that females, you know, I don't tend to be more emotional and tend to take things at an emotional state rather than males kind of see it more of an what's it called, a logical state, which is fine, right? You just have to understand that. But if I have to kind of, you know, play it back, what I like to do when, like, on the topic of emotions, right? So the first key is communication. Communication's huge, right? Like if for example you guys get into a fight, or the best example I could say is probably jealousy, right? When you see your other partner talking to another girl, or your boyfriend you know, doing something that you don't like around other females, whatever, right? Instead of kind of like what Linda was saying, instead of lashing out, you kind of have to communicate with your partner, sit down with them, and kind of figure out like what was happening, right? But even before that, my biggest thing is just you guys have to have an understanding once you get into the relationships, what's you know okay, what's not okay, what you kind of have to understand your partner in a sense where like some people are just kind of flirtatious, right? They have that kind of characteristic where they're just very talkative, very open. Doesn't mean that they want to get that person in bed and have an affair or do whatever. It's just that's kind of what their character portrays, more of a flirtatious state. But and as a partner, you have to understand that, and you have to be, you know, okay with that, and you know, realize that there's nothing more than just, you know, a good conversation. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to emotional, well, tips on
controlling your emotions.
Yes, tips on controlling your emotions is, I feel confidence plays a big part in that, because if you're with someone, and it's hard to kind of third party it for me. I like to kind of use myself as an example. Like if I'm in a relationship with Linda and, you know, I see you know, good looking guy, you know, dressed well, talk to her, it's just, I don't know, some guys will find that, you know, that's their territory, they'll get, you know, jealous, whatever, but I don't know why. I don't feel like that at all, because when I first met Linda, we sat down, we were very kind of, you know, we obviously found each other attractive. We shared our goals. We kind of were on the same page. And I guess that's one of the tips I have. It's just, I feel like a lot of these couples that kind of have these problems with jealousy and emotional up and downs, it's almost like they're not even on the same page, right? If you're on the same page with your partner, I feel you just understand each other better, right? Because if I see that, there's no way I'm feeling like jealous, right? There's no way I'm feeling this guy's gonna swoop her in and take her over, because like it blows my mind some people think this, because it's just like, if that were to happen, like it's no harm or no shame on that guy or that girl that swooped in and took your girl or your man. It's literally you clearly didn't have any clue on, you know, your partner, because if your partner is capable of being swooped away that easily, like you really didn't know your partner, right? And that's the biggest fact for me. It's just like, I understand Linda and I see her value, and I just know deep down there's no way that would happen, right? So that's half the reason why it doesn't bother me. And then plus you gotta put some value on yourself, right? If you feel like you have a lot to value or you have a lot to offer, and like you're almost irreplaceable, right? You kind of put yourself on this pedestal. Like if someone talks to you know, your partner in a flirtatious way, it wouldn't even faze you, right? Like, because you're just like, you know what, you both have a lot to offer, you both are on the same page, and there's no one else that could come in and take that away.
And if they do, you just tell yourself that it's that person's loss, because you have a lot to offer to them and the relationship.
Yeah, and that happens, right? Like you might be this person that's thinks very highly of themselves, and you don't let that kind of stuff kind of bother you. And you know, one time you see your girlfriend talk to another guy, and at the end of the day you find out she's kind of messing around. You know what? It sucks. That stuff does happen. It's shitty, whatever, but you gotta understand that, you know, that's life, right? But you don't have to sink down to that level, right? Because it basically says a lot about that person, not you. You have your morals, you have your standards, and if that happens to that person, because people have to understand that it's not happening, it's actually not happening to you, it's actually happening to that person. It's a statement about that person, not you. Don't sink to their level, don't, carry on and be like this, blah, 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 and don't go cheat as well. That will now be a statement about who you are, right? Keep your morals, keep your standards, and if that happens to you, just move on and find somebody that actually respects themselves, right? Because if you're both on the same page, and if you both carry your life kind of through that path, there's nothing to worry about, right?
It all comes down to also how confident, again, like you said, how confident you are, but then how confident you are within the relationship too. So if you're not that confident, then yeah, you're going to lash out on a lot of things that your partner does. And if you guys, again, are not on the same page, like you said, a lot of arguments will happen. So it's very important to just be on the same page at the beginning from the start, because as the years go by and you guys are still, lashing out at each other for the same things, it's just would be kind of a waste of your time.
Another tip is, I don't recommend if you guys, for example, if somebody does something or your partner does something that you don't like, or it kind of makes you mad, if you feel you kind of have to know your body, you got to know yourself, and if you feel you're kind of already irritated because you haven't slept as much, you missed some meals, right? Maybe you're dehydrated, whatever. If you understand your body and you know you're kind of on that kind of tipping point, it's not a good idea to engage in something, right? At the end of the day, it's always good to resolve something, but you have to know your body and kind of understand that maybe you should take 10, 15, even half an hour to kind of go eat, take a nap, sleep it off, and then once you're, in a good state of mind, come back, ask your partner, let's sit down, let's figure out what this situation was about and resolve it, right? Because having an argument when you're starving, when you've slept like 2-3 hours, you're not gonna process it properly. You're not gonna see the other person's viewpoint. You're literally just gonna be irritated and just cause more problems, if anything. So that's another tip, I believe, is just understand your body, understand your mind, and make sure you're not getting into or kind of trying to solve a problem when you're not in that kind of mental capacity to really solve that problem. Another point I want to mention is sometimes like you're in a situation, you've been together for a long time, you might have kids, and things kind of get into a habit where you're arguing a lot, you're kind of fighting often, and obviously you feel maybe a little bit trapped because you don't really want to leave that person. You have kids, you have a family, but like things aren't going kind of the way you want it to happen or the way you want to go about it. Another good idea is, and I don't understand why people feel like this is kind of a negative, but like if you hire like a therapist or you sit down with somebody that understands this kind of stuff, right? Maybe a relationship coach, right? It's the best thing you can do for you, especially the relationship, is because you're bringing a third party into the relationship that's a professional and will see both sides, and then will give you a professional opinion on what you should do, right? And if you think it's all about the money and you can't afford it, well, I think your relationship is worth it, right?
Yeah.
Don't think about the money. Think about like if you want to be with this person, you gotta invest. You gotta invest your time and your money for the relationship, right? So if it's on the rocks and you kind of have no idea what else to do, like definitely bring in a professional, right?
I agree. Sometimes couples really just can't sit down and communicate. Like it's just sometimes it comes to that point where you're just so fed up with each other, you literally just can't figure things out. And then you find that you're arguing about the same thing. So yeah, bringing a third party, a professional, is 100% key at that point in the relationship.
Last pointer I want to say.
Oh yeah.
We might cut this out, but last pointer, very important because I hear this often as well, is just some people say, well, you know, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. If it's not gonna work, you know, and it's just like, you know, get out of the relationship, start a new relationship. This is obviously an option, and it's an option for everybody. But at the same time, you have to understand that it's just like, if there was a spark there, if there was, you know, if you saw a future, if you saw all this stuff, and sometimes, you know, it's not going to always be at a high. Like, life is up and down. That's what life is. So I always recommend do everything you can do before you start jumping ship to, you know, thinking about, you know, getting out there in the field, being single, because at the end of the day, that's all temporary, right? That's all temporary stuff, right? Like, you can go to the club, you know, mingle around, you know, sleep around, but you're not going to be able to build anything with anybody, right? If you have that kind of mindset, right? It's almost like a hit and run, right? So it's just like, I recommend really, like, if you love this person, give it your all, spend some money, and just try to make it work. If it doesn't work, then sometimes relationships don't work, because it takes two to really build a relationship. So you both have to be on board with it.
But at that point, I think you can at least say you've done everything
exactly
that you could to actually make the relationship work. And if it still doesn't work, you're just unfortunately not meant to be together.
Yep.
Spend the rest of your lives together, and that's totally fine. But at least you say you can try.
Exactly.
So yeah, guys, that's it. That's the end of this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed these advices that we have to offer to you guys, and remember, it's based on our life experiences and how we've grown together and individually in the confidence stage, and also in the emotional intelligence stage, and how we personally control our emotions. Elliot's really good at, you know, controlling his emotions. He's very calm, collected. I do still have a little bit of work to do, because I do sometimes let little things get to me, not with Elliot, just other people. So I think I just really need to also work on controlling my emotions with other people and what they do. So, but yeah, it's a process, it's a learning process, and I hope you guys take this advice from us. If not, great. If you do, great, let us know. Comment below if you have any questions at all, based on our past experiences and what we would recommend for you guys as well. Just share your story with us. We would be more than happy to express our opinions and give you guys some advice. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye, guys.